what free is, nigga? What's free? Free is when nobody else can tell us what to be.
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Mambo ni kama nazidi kuchemka. Senator Omtatah has finally filed that petition regarding Odious debts zenye nataka Ruto na Uhuru walipe. And it's 22 pages, but I've summarized it for you. So let's dive in. Odious debts basically ni debts zenye zilikuwa borrowed by the government outside the legal framework na pia zenye hazikuwa used for public benefit. Now, the total odious debt identified in 13.1 trillion shillings, including unlawfully borrowed money, overpayments on legitimate loans, and a discrepancy between National Treasury and Central Bank records. Kwa hivyo nasema ile debt yenye inasemekana na National Treasury ukikompare na Central Bank kidogo mambo haingiliani. Now, what are some of the examples? Examples ni kama the Eurobond loans over 1.1 trillion, which was allegedly borrowed without parliamentary approval and not tied to any development project. And then pia kuna 2024 Eurobond union last year, 208 billion, which was used to repay another loan. But Omtatah argues that this is illegal under Kenyan law. Now, legal violations cited. First of all, anasema borrowings not tied to development as required under Public Finance Management Act. Also, uses of loans for recurrent expenditure and rollovers of illegal debt. Pia anasema that is illegal. Na anasema over 6.9 trillion was borrowed outside parliamentary approvals from 2014 to 2025. Kwa hivyo parliament haikuapprove hizi. Now let's go to the specific allegations. Number one, anasema former President Uhuru Kenyatta borrowed 6.6 trillion, of which, listen to this, 4.6 trillion is deemed odious. Alafu anasema President William Ruto accused of borrowing 3.1 trillion shillings, of which 2.25 trillion has been classified as odious within just 2.5 years. So what are some of the consequences of, borrowing these odious debts? First of all, public debt repayments consume up to 86% of annual tax revenues. Yani, tunatumia 86% of zile tax tumecollect kulipa hizi deni zenye zingine hazileweki. Taxpayers have paid 3.6 trillion more than what was borrowed due to interest and mismanagement. And number three, money that could have, listen to this, interesting, money that could have financed 35 standard gauge railways is unaccounted for. So what are some of the reliefs that Omtatah and the four other petitioners wanataka, or rather ni nini anataka koti ifanye? First of all, anataka koti declare that odious debts are illegal and non-repayable. Also, anasema former presidents, ministers and oversight officials to refund illegal loans. Also, ban on future borrowing without parliamentary approval, and nullification of PFMA amendments that facilitated illegal borrowing. That is public financial management, all that. And then holding IMF accountable for illegal loans.
This is my view on Dindinyoro's speech about the debt. I think he gave a very clear and objective analysis of the current debt status in Kenya. And he even warned that if we are not careful, then we are going to default our debt. And I think that's the problem with Kenya today. This man was the chair of budget. He would have implemented whatever he's saying today. But he did not. And if you remember well, before the elections of 2022, William Ruto knew all the problems Kenya was facing. Pesa mfukoni, extrajudicial killings, education, manufacturing, everything, agriculture. He knew everything. But when he got there, he started doing completely different things from what he promised. And if you observe the opposition we have today, they know all the problems Kenyans are facing. Abductions, SHA, SHIF, education funding model, everything they know. Hata ukiwaamsha usiku katikati, they will tell you. But when we elect them and they get there, they start doing completely different things from what they were elected to do. And if Akina Sudi and Ishongwa and all those people find themselves in opposition after 2027, they will start knowing all the problems Kenyans are facing. And they will talk about them usiku na mchana. And then when we elect them and we expect them to do whatever they promise, they do not. And the cycle continues. That is why Kenya is not moving forward. Because politicians understand the issues we are facing. But when they get into power, they don't act on it. It's like power messes up with their mind and they forget whatever they were saying before they were elected. Sasa unashanga, when will we ever get out of this matrix? Because if we are to fix Kenya, then we must fix our politicians. We must make sure our politicians do whatever they promise.
I'm going to break down Senator Omtatah's interview at Spice FM. It happened today. It was 1 hour 37 minutes. And let me tell you guys, he is suing the former president Uhuru Kenyatta and the current president William Samoei Ruto on audacious debt in trillions. One, from what I have picked from his interview, and you have to follow me because I'm going to have to do it in bits. So follow me so that you understand, and I'm going to try and break it down in the simplest language ever. But for one, Kenya has enough resources. Kenyans are paying taxes that is enough to sustain us, our economy, and the development agenda that is being sold by any government of the day. And two, there's a lot of public theft and wastage of resources in parliament, in treasury, and in the Central Bank of Kenya. Mutashetuka. Mtu asiweze hatuna pesa Kenya. Do you remember we said that we're going to talk about what Senator Omtatah has been speaking about at Spice FM in terms of audacious debt that this government keeps insisting that we have? And it's important we have this conversation because the Finance Bill 2025 is about to be unleashed. First and foremost, let's look about one of the things that he talked about in the month of February this year when the AUC elections were happening and campaigns were being spearheaded by this government. There's a fixed cost in government expenditure for state officers that is usually at 4.2 billion. This includes their allowances, salaries, and miscellaneous. It's a fixed cost because they are known. There's a number of employees, they are known. When you want to run serikali, and it's a fixed number. That is why it is capped at 4.2 billion. But in the month of February, it moved from 4.2 billion to 22 billion, meaning there's an extra 18 billion that cannot be explained by this government where it was used or how it was used. But at the same time, it came from our taxpayers' money. If we want to kill them to Wetu syndrome, we need to stop looking at does this person support Kasongo or not, and look at the Auditor General's report in regards to how theft has happened in county governments for governors and members of parliament for the CDF money.
I'm Choki Kuomba. It's just borrowing and more borrowing. Yet our debt ceiling has already been surpassed. I'm wondering if mkiendelea down this trend, we're going to go into a recession as a country, and then everything will just go downhill from there. Because after all this borrowing you people are doing, hakuna development imefanya. There is no new thing that has been introduced in this country that is making money yenye itaweza kulipa hizi madeni. So all this borrowing you're doing, you're just going to pass that bill on to us, the citizens of this country, in taxes. Muendelee tu kutuongeza taxes, na tuendelee kulipa hizi madeni. 77 billion from World Bank and 34 billion from Africa Development Bank. That's over 100 billion. Hamski shame? Ama you can't shame the shameless?
Tribes, the one thing that has been used for thousands of years to cause a lot of hatred and division, can be turned around and used for good. Why not create our own tribes? And I'm not talking about these funny tribal things za watu wenye mnaongea nao lugha moja. No, I'm talking about forming a tribe with people you're in the same line of business with, people you're in the same industries with. That should be your tribe. If you're in the hospitality industry, the people in that industry should be your tribe, regardless of what language they speak. If you're in the real estate industry, those people in that industry should be your tribe. Whether you're in the health sector, the people in that sector should be your tribe. As long as mtu anaongea the same language unaongea ya biashara, that should be your tribe. That is the only tribe you should be concerned with. The tribe that helps you grow and make money.
Kisha hakuna rais amewahi enda taa moja Kenya. hatutakubali kufunga virago Nairobi kuja reserve. Hapana. Ama mulitutuma sisi tuende Nairobi turudi nyumbani. Si tu lazima tuamalize 10 years. Maiona rais anaenda one term. Hata wakati Kibaki alipata shida, si alifanya ukarabati mpaka akarudi kwa kiti. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie, ukienda Coast, uende Northeastern, uende mpaka hapa Western, Luo, Nyanza na hapa Rift Valley, hii yote asubuhi na mapema, before hata 90 minutes ishe, William Ruto atakuwa amekuwa re-elected with over 90% of votes cast in the Republic of Kenya. Ukiona hawa kama akina Karua, akina Kalonzo, hawa ni watu wanaweza shindana na William Ruto. Hata ukiketi tu nyumbani upime tu, wanaweza shinda William Ruto. Kwanza hawatakubaliana candidate, hawatakubaliana chama, hawatakubaliana sera. Sisi mpango yetu itatusaidia ni Rais William Ruto amalize hii kazi 2 years.
You like me, why them a fight me? You like me, chewing a bone with a bite. We don't trust them even if we bust them. We don't trust them, stay far, not touch them. We don't trust them, hope your man a suck them. Informer me say you must them.